Hey, just real quick before we start this episode of the podcast, I just want to give a big thanks for all those great reviews you guys are leaving, and I just want to read one here real quick. This is by Mortgages by Miles. Miles gave us a good 5-star review. Thank you so much, Miles. And Miles says, these podcasts have changed my business and increased my business 5 times in less than a year. Good for you, Miles. Congratulations, brother. Be sure to email us at support@themarketinganimals.com, support@themarketinganimals.com, and we'll send you one of our new Yeti-type coffee mugs with the Mortgage Marketing Animals logo on it. And we appreciate that great review, brother. And we'll send you, along with anybody else that leaves us a review, just email that same number and we'll send you one of our mugs. All right, without further ado, on to the podcast. Hello, everybody. This is Carl White, broadcasting from the secret headquarters here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals /Freedom Club. And welcome to Loan Officer Freedom, #1 podcast in the world today for loan officers. And it's all because, well, I'm just darn good looking. You like that, Owen? You were thinking that very same thing. You were thinking that very same thing, and I thought, well, I'll just help you out a little bit here. So,
and it's so true. That's the beautiful part about it.
No, we're #1 because of all you fine people have been kind enough to share this with your friends, and we really appreciate that. And this is going to be an excellent episode to do just that very thing. What you're listening to the right episode if you're wanting to learn about how to combat against like the rocket mortgage, I guess, is the elephant in the room, or that, at least I think that way, and fight them using their own technology. And I've got joining me here today is Owen Lee. He's the CEO of Success Mortgage Partners. Awesome dude. And brother, I wanted you to be on this call specifically because even though we hang out with a lot of awesome people, and I know you belong to the Mortgage Collaborative, which is a whole bunch of mortgage companies that shares ideas back and forth. Right. I have to say, man, you're kind of the cat's meow when it comes to this technology stuff, and putting it in place, for the average loan officer. Let's just say it that way, that they don't have to be like a super techie person. So.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. I hope I'm worthy of the compliment.
Well, I think so. So let's talk about this, man. So first of all, as we talk about some of the technology, and we're going to go into the very specifics, and the purpose of this one is we're going to give specifics, not because we're making any recommendations per se. Right. We might mention a couple of CRMs, and neither you or I are tied to any of these.
Correct.
But it's just things that you are currently using. And the idea that people listening today is listen to what Owen's using, and then use that same technology in your company. So that's the idea of what we're talking about here today. So, right. So how big of a deal, by the way, like when we talk about rocket mortgage, I think a lot of loan officers are really feeling like they're the dinosaur in the room. They're afraid of getting walked on. Like how big of a threat is that, do you think?
Well, I think we have to put this into perspective because really when you think about the mortgage industry as a whole, you are correct. I am a member of this group called the Mortgage Collaborative, which is a lot of independent mortgage banks and community-based banks, a lot of companies that are in the distributed retail area, or what we would call it the eat what you kill area. I'm also very involved in the national MBA. And I go to a lot of peer groups and conventions and whatnot. And the number one question that I hear asked all the time is, well, is Rocket Mortgage going to take over the industry? Or how are we going to compete with Rocket Mortgage? And I always like to take a step back for a second, because I think we are all extremely fortunate to be in this business. And I think we're going to continue to be extremely fortunate. So if you look at like the national MBA, the MBA predicted in February that the total mortgage market for this year was going to be $1.67 trillion. So almost a $1.7 trillion mortgage market. With interest rates going down, their latest update came out at the end of September, and they estimated just over a $2 trillion mortgage market, 2.050 to be exact. So I've heard estimates about Quicken and that they're going to close 130 billion or 140 billion. So if you just look at that for a second, Quicken is about 6.5, 7% of the overall mortgage marketplace. And so we talk about them as if they're going to take over the world, but our industry is so fractured that the number one originator of mortgage loans has about 6.5 to 7% of the marketplace. So this is not a marketplace with an Apple or a Google or a General Motors or something like that, a single entity commanding 25, 30, 35, 40% of the marketplace. There is so much money in our industry. We only have to be a little bit successful in order to live fantastic lives financially, depending on what your goals are. So I just think we're really fortunate to be in this industry. And I don't believe that Quicken, and I'm a big fan of Quicken. I look at some of the things that they do and I think they're amazing. But no matter how successful they are, I always think there'll be a place for us in the industry. I do think some of these things change slightly, how we have to approach our businesses, what things we have to deploy in order to continue to be successful. But overall, I think there's tremendous opportunity to be in this industry, and I feel very lucky every day to be a part of it.
Yeah, me and you too. It's certainly done me extremely well, you know. And I swear I wake up every morning just thanking God that I stumbled upon this business. Number one, it's availed me to, I mean, truly live a life that I would have never dreamed of, truly. Mm-hmm. And then meeting, you know, just amazing people as I travel around the country. And you, Owen, you become a very dear friend of mine. Your whole family to my family, and yeah. And it's amazing. So all right, but let's say so while it's and I didn't realize, I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought of Quicken as the Google, but they're not. You talk about 6 to 7%. It is a very fractured industry that we're in. However, like what I've always done is like, who's number one? If it's not me, who is number one?
Right.
And then find out what number one's doing and learn from that entity, whether it's a person or an entity, and then put your own flavor on it and try to not recreate it, but like use what's working for them if it falls into my philosophy and business model. Right. And so let's talk about some of the things that that you and other, how many owners are in this mortgage collaborative that you're in? How many more or less?
There's probably about 75 different companies or something like that. Yeah. Legally, it's a co-op, but it's a group that comes together to pool our purchasing power, pool our knowledge, learn from one another, potentially pool our mortgages. But it's great to hang out with like-minded people. I get a lot of peer learning from them. It's a very share-based group, much like the Freedom Club and the Mortgage Marketing Animals. It's a very giving mentality when you go to those meetings.
So these companies, even though you might be in the same markets per se, where you're at these meetings, you just openly share. And right. Actually, as you were describing, it sound just like the Freedom Club is for branch managers and for loan officers, same kind of thing. So let's talk about some of the technology that you and some of these other leaders in the mortgage collaborative are using in your mortgage business. And again, maybe not recommending this particular program per se, but recommending this type of technology. What's some of the things that you're using in your own mortgage company that you see moving the needle the most?
Right. So generally speaking, we've had a big move to technology in the last 12 to 18 months. And the reason is because I do think Rocket Mortgage, push button, get mortgage. It's pretty simple. I do think it has a lot of traction. Zillow is going to have some traction. The number one question I get after Quicken is, when is Amazon getting in the mortgage business? Are you aware of what Amazon did to travel agents? Or Expedia did to travel agents, and what Amazon is doing to, shopping malls across the country. And these companies are going to have some success. So we have to look at this technology and deploy it in our businesses. Now is the time. And so I look at it this way is, do we want our business to get 5 to 7% harder every year because of the entry of some of these folks, which I do think it will. 5 years from now, do you want to work 30 to 35% harder in order to earn the same income? Or do you want to work just as hard to earn 30 to 35% less? I want to answer no to both of those questions. I want to work less and earn more, or work smarter and earn more. And the technology for that is available, and it's available right now, and it's affordable to companies out there. It was affordable to our company. We did have to tighten our belts and run smart in a few areas, but it's definitely affordable. And when you really look at the regulatory landscape, you can't close a loan in 24 hours. You can only close a loan after all the disclosures in a little bit more than a week, depending upon what state you're in and what regulations might be in place. And the technology is there for us right now to be and appear to be bigger than we may actually be because of the technology. So you really have to look at a few key areas when you look at this. And should I just jump right in and explain?
Yeah, and you know what, when you talk about using technology to make more and work less, I want to make sure everybody understands that's not just some magic fairy dust, and it sounds cool to say that. I mean, as you're listening to this, guys and gals, think of it like the most basic technology ever, like the telephone. If you didn't have the technology of the telephone and you had to conduct all your business by jumping in your car, driving over to their office, oh gosh, they're not there. Well, here, let me go to my next one. And if you were doing that all day long, that sounds ludicrous, but think about what technology would be, or what your day would be out without the technology of a phone. It would be a lot more work. You'd make a lot less connections. Every time you needed a bank statement, you'd have to run to somebody's house and get it. So just kind of have that in mind as we're talking about this. And once you learn like the things that Owen and using the technology he's going to talk about. So Owen, on this technology that you use and that I use also in my own personal branch, the thought of going without this stuff now, to me, would be like going without the phone. Like it's like,
it's amazing. One thing that's always amazing to me, like you look at your cell phone for a second, you use that as an example. I don't know how old everybody on this podcast is. I happen to be 49. But I remember a time when I was getting out of college and I was in law school when a mobile phone was something that you had in your car, and it may or may not have been in a bag. And you would say to somebody, oh, I'm calling on the car phone. I can't wait on hold, because it was 30 cents a minute to be on hold. But once you had that convenience, it's amazing how fast it becomes essential. Look at any teenager today and try and get them to put down their phone for 5 minutes and imagine a life without Google. They get so scared.
Yeah. So let's run through some of these.
It's a lot like that. In that very short period of time, it goes from something that's cool and convenient to an essential part of your business. And that's where our company has gotten in just a very short period of time. And I'm sure people listening who have deployed some of these things will feel the same way.
So let's run through some of these. Let's call it must-haves. If you're looking, like the public has been being made aware of what's available, like with Rocket Mortgage and some of these technology companies. How are we battling against them? So like, what's one piece?
Well, I think it starts with a really good loan origination system. And there are a few of them. Our company happens to use Encompass. I don't want to go through and say which ones are good and which ones are bad, because it's really more about how it's programmed. For example, do you have automatic milestones, communications attached to those milestones as your file goes through the process? Hey, your appraisal came in. Hey, your loan's been approved with conditions. Hey, we've got a clear to close. These are some types of milestones. We have several where automatic bomb videos or text messages. We still use email for some things, but what we use email for is dwindling every day, because I think email is becoming yesterday's technology and texting and video is becoming tomorrow's and today's technology. So when you have those auto communications set up, very important for the borrower, yes, but also for the referring realtor and the referral on the other side of the transaction. How about you communicate more with the listing agent than the listing agent's own loan officer does when they refer a deal? These things can be pre-programmed automatic, and once you have it set up, they do it without you doing anything. And you know, my father, who I work with still, says when he comes into the office, one thing you never hear, a complaint in American business, you never hear somebody say, you know, the problem with that company is they just communicate too damn much.
Yeah.
You know? Nobody ever says that. So why not have these automatic updates? You can get 12, 15, 20 automatic updates set up in your loan origination system that'll be automatically delivered and seem like they're unique to the transaction right out of the chute.
So in other words, like let's say the I don't know, the appraisal came in. Mm-hmm. So what I would do as a loan officer, I would go and using a simple iPhone camera, mm-hmm. Do a little video. Hey, just want to give you a quick heads up. The appraisal came in. Feel free to give me a call at the office and I can go over it with you. I record that one time without mentioning anybody's name. And and so now the software, like Encompass, the way y'all got it set up, mm-hmm. is that when the appraisal comes in and the processor clicks that button, yes, the appraisal's in, that video text automatically goes out
automatically
to the borrower, the co-borrower, the listing agent, the buying agent, like whoever
you program it to. But yes, you have to be disciplined about putting in email addresses and cell phone numbers for the texting and the emailing and the videos and whatever to work. But yes, if you get uniform about how you use the software, all that stuff goes out automatically without you doing anything once you have it set up properly.
And you know, it's interesting that we just finished one of our Freedom Club member meetings, which you were kind enough to join us at as one of the leaders in the group yourself, that it never ceases to amaze me that the two areas where people say they get their biggest growth in business, and dude, we saw some people with some astronomical growth, like epic, you know, huge numbers, you know, like literally 5, 6, 10 times. I think one person's 23 times more loans today than they were 3 years ago. It's just unbelievable. But it never ceases to amaze me on how often it's the listing agent and their past database is the main source of these people getting epic new business is from the listing agent. And so having these milestones set up automatically where that automatic text message or that automatic video message via text goes out to them. And it looks like I picked up my phone and left them a personal message.
Or the agent on the other end of the transaction is huge because they go into the transaction with such low expectations because they were not the referrer of business. And it's so easy, if you're regimented about it, to exceed those expectations. You can get a lot more at bats than I think people realize. And it's so simple when you think about it and start to break it down.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so having whether it's Encompass or Point or whichever LOS you're using, the critical point is what you're saying is have it set up so these milestones are automatically going out.
Correct. How is it programmed and how is it customizable for you?
Yeah.
And you should be working with an entity that understands that your LOS can be a marketing tool that works automatically in the background.
Yeah, I like that. So now, this might seem a little self-serving, but it's a real question. On setting that up, if I'm a new loan officer, like coming in to, like, is this something that I need to set up myself, or is this something that I should expect to have set up on my behalf?
I really think it's something that you should set up or have set up on your behalf. And the reason is because most loan officers, I know our loan officers, you know, their job is to go out and get the business. Their job is not to be technology based. They have to deploy technology and understand it enough to have it deployed, but they shouldn't be the ones in there programming the code and writing the APIs where these technologies talk to one another. That should absolutely be done for them at the place where they work.
Dude, I couldn't agree with you more. Cause I'm not going to mention any names, but I got two very dear friends of mine, actually three, that own CRM programs, and they're excellent. And they all say the same thing. Their biggest issue is they have no problem selling the CRM. It's a great program. I've had all three of them myself personally. All three of them are phenomenal. Getting the loan officer to turn the darn thing on, because the loan officer, while knowing they need to have it going, understanding the value of it, they go, wait a minute, the week or two or month or two that I'm setting it up, who's out there selling on my behalf? I can't afford not to sell, because then I won't have anybody put in the CRM, because I won't have any loans in the process. And so it's that crazy cycle of thinking with all good intentions of all parties of hey, I want to set it up, because I need to set it up because I know my team and I should be the one. No, you should not be the one putting it together. That's just and my friends that own the CRM programs would tell you the exact same thing. Is like, dude, have somebody on your team or have an IT person in your company or however that works. Have that thing set up for you so it's a plug and play for you, just the best possible. All right.
I would say that's one.
So incumbent. What's another tool that we should be using?
The next thing would be a CRM. And I think we have to change our expectations of CRM, because this is not about birthday emails and Thanksgiving leftover recipes, right? A CRM should really be the latest buzzword, should be a sales operating system or a sales management system, but it's got to go way beyond what it did before. At our company, we use Total Expert. You can have Top of Mind and Salesforce, and there are other good ones out there, but it's about how it works. And let me give you an example. All of these CRMs should have journeys, right? Almost every loan officer I talk to, we pre-approve a whole bunch of people, and we don't give mortgages to all of them. And we don't give mortgages to all of them that buy a house. So what are we going to do about that? If we close a mortgage for 1 out of every 6 people we give a pre-approval to? What if we could change that to 1 out of every 5 or 1 out of every 4? That's an example of this business getting 7% easier a year instead of 7% harder. Mm-hmm. So what do you do with your CRM to make that happen? Well, just as an example, when you pre-approve someone, you should be able to place them on a journey, which is a series of communications that come automatically from the CRM that might be augmented or supplemented by what you might put out there. So for example, how long does your typical pre-approved borrower shop for a house? Is it 45 days? Is it 60 days? Is it 75 days? Plan out your communication with these people in advance and put it on autopilot. And it should include email, although that should become a minority. It should include texting. It should include videos. And then maybe you do an extra BombBomb video. I know at the Freedom Club, people are generally big users of BombBomb, but how about every Friday afternoon? You say, hey, I know you're pre-approved and I just want to wish you happy house hunting this weekend. Don't forget, once you find the house that you love, feel free to give me a call. We'll update that pre-approval letter and get you going on the house and the offer. Make sure the real estate agent has what they need when they present your offer to the seller. All these things should be able to be done automatically and then maybe augmented by you. So when you put somebody on that journey, you have the next 12, 15, 17, 20 communications pre-recorded, pre-planned out with very little what we call in our office sales friction. And sales friction is loan officers who have the best of intentions but get busy and then don't have a chance to get to it. We want to reduce that sales friction and put that on autopilot so once you put somebody in as somebody who is pre-approved, that journey starts and the next 15, 17, 20 communications are already done.
All automatic. While I'm out having my coffee appointment, or I'm out teaching at the Realtors Association, or meeting with a borrower, this communication is going on, almost like again, I know it's not AI or artificial intelligence, but it gives that feeling
towards that. Correct.
It is. And then I've got a salesperson on my behalf contacting those people I'm currently doing business with, thanking them, giving them updates, and asking for referrals.
Correct.
All automatically, but looking like it's in real time. So, all right. So we got our CRM. And by the way, I just want to do it.
Just one last point. You should have somebody at your company who's willing to help you and deploy that system for you.
Without question. Again,
do it 100% on your own. Yes, it takes some. You have to preview the things on the journey. Some of it might work for you. Some of it might not. Some of it might be, tweaked for your local market or whatever, but you should absolutely have assistance from your company for deploying these things for you.
Yeah. So I don't know if I should say this, and I might, well, I believe in being transparent, so I will say it. I use two CRMs. I use one, which is Infusionsoft, which is a Salesforce type thing. And then again, through you, we're using the Total Expert in my branch. I personally have never logged into either one of them. So like literally, so we've had Infusionsoft as my CRM for probably the last, 12, 13, 14 years. And it sounds, I've literally never logged in because spending time inside that CRM is not a good use of my time. However, having somebody either in your office or my office setting that thing up, sending me tasks. Hey, Carl, at this point, you should call the listing agent. Here's the file they're working on. Everything's going again. Here's your script. Call the listing agent. That is important for me to make that phone call because I don't need to be an expert at the CRM to get these tasks that's pre-programmed sent to me. That sometimes these tasks send out the text message on my behalf. Sometimes it sends me a message, Carl, pick up the phone and call this person, tell them thank you.
Absolutely.
And so I use the CRM without question on a daily, well, every day I'm in office, every working day on a daily basis. But I literally do not know the login information. I've literally never logged into either one of them. So
yeah, you should have somebody working on it for you. You have to participate, right? You have
no question.
What's going out? You have to approve it. You have to set up your different journeys and buckets.
No question.
But once you participate, it should really run on autopilot.
So do the strategies of it, coming up what to do, and tweaking it to how it matches me. But the tactical part of actually the doing it, not a good thing for most loan officers to do. Not everybody, but
doing that. Correct.
And by the way, I want to do a quick shout out. I've been such a huge fan of hers, and she's been so kind to us. Sue Woodard over at Total Expert, which is the CRM we use in our mortgage company. We got dear friends in other areas, but Sue's just
lady.
Outstanding. You just can't go wrong by an afternoon spent with Sue is a good afternoon. I'm just telling you, she is one sharp lady. So, all right. So we have we have our LOS, which in your case, again, not that we're recommending it because we have no ownership or anything, is Encompass. The particular CRM that you use is Total Expert.
Right. And there are more than one good one for sure.
But Jungo's another.
About how it's programmed and about the plan you have for adoption. Yeah,
and Jungo, another outstanding, Mike Goulet's dear personal friend of mine, outstanding software. All right. So I got my LOS, I got my CRM set up. What else do I need?
Well, there's really two more that I want to get to. Let's cover Blend as the next one. Okay. So for those who may not be familiar, Blend is a company that does an online application. And it's very, very important. And it really is cutting edge technology. If you haven't heard of it or you haven't deployed it, you really need to look at it. So we deployed it about a year ago. And it's really, really been successful and become essential for a lot of people in our organization in a very short period of time, just like we were talking about with technology. And simply stated, I'm going to do this in injustice, but most people who don't have something like Blend, and there's also a company called Roostify or some other companies that do this, but this is as close as small companies can get to the Rocket Mortgage type feel. So when you do an online application and you don't have a software like Blend, you're really 99% of the time sending the borrower to an online form in order to have them fill it out. You're sending them to a mortgage application online in some form or format. And if you weren't in the mortgage business, if you just went to the Kroger or the Target and you handed somebody a mortgage application and had them look at it, it is not an intuitive document. The questions are not presented in a way that the average person would know exactly what they want. So Blend really takes care of that. So if you think about, rather than them filling out a line, Blend would ask a series of questions to the borrower that says something like, oh, Mr. Jones, thanks so much for coming to the site for Jason Smith, superstar loan officer. Tell me, Mr. Jones, tell me about where you live. And then they type in their address. And then based upon that answer, it'd say, how long have you lived there? If they answer more than 2 years, then it goes to the next set of questions. Less than 2 years, it says, oh, great. Where did you live before there? Did you rent? Did you own? What about your job? How long have you been there? Where did you work before then? And it takes you through a very conversational series of questions that results in a loan application that is filled out much more accurately. It also has great features where borrowers, through online verification, can take pictures of documents and upload it right to the file. Our Blend goes straight to Encompass. Again, that can happen with other loan origination systems. Through Blend, they can go to their bank, download their bank statements, and upload them straight to the file. It puts together a much, much better file. Long story short, our files that go through Blend come out of underwriting about 25% faster with about 30% less conditions.
Wow.
And what does that really yield? I'll tell you what it yields. It yields a higher net promoter score. It yields more 5-star reviews. It yields more raving fans in the realtor industry, more happy borrowers, and more referrals. And it's really something that I think over the next 2-3 years is going to take over the industry, and you should be working with it really now. It's available right now. It's affordable for most companies right now. And it's really, I haven't had one loan officer who's adopted it. Carl, in the branch that you're with, that you run, many of the loan officers have adopted it, and it's universally loved. I don't want to be Pollyanna or anything like that, but I haven't heard negative comments about it. I really have not.
Yeah, and same thing at our last meeting. We were talking. I was talking to some of the loan officers that were using Blend, and is that the one that it's in essence the exact same technology as Rocket Mortgage? Am I thinking of the right one?
Very similar. Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it has that the uploading of documents, and it just yeah. You know, I used to waver on the online app thing, but you know, as time goes on, I had to give up my horse and buggy and go to a car. I've come to believe that not everybody, but maybe most people would rather do a quick online app rather than talking to somebody.
Well, it's moving in that direction. I'm still, when I was writing loans, I had a much higher conversion ratio with people that I sat down with face to face. And for some folks, that's still the best way to do it. I absolutely am a true believer in that. But for those of your clients who want the online application, Blend is a great solution. Again, it's not an app, it's an actual program. You can do it on your laptop, you can do it on your desktop, you can do it on your pad, you can do it on your mobile phone. If you start it on your mobile phone and go to your laptop, it picks you up right where you left off. It's an actual program, it's not an app, but it'll be used like an app by the borrowers. It's really
and then uploading like Flowify. I don't know if you're familiar with Flowify, but it has the same. So Flowify, I guess, would be another example. There's Blend and Flowify, two very similar yet competing companies. Same basic technology. Is that correct in your opinion?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And have you ever used Flowify, or did y'all go straight to Blend?
I have not used Flowify. We went straight to Blend.
Okay.
I know there are 2 or 3 that work in this area, and any one of them is better than nothing. But my only experience has been with Blend. And again, I don't mean to be Pollyanna or anything like that, but or I'm not a paid cheerleader. I make nothing from this investment, but it's been fantastic technology.
And that's what I've heard of the Blend too. I've heard like literally 0 complaints. Anytime you get a group of loan officers have 0 complaints, brother, you got something going. I'm just saying, you got something going there. All right, let's pick one more. So we have a LOS, which in your case is Encompass, the CRM, which in your case is Total Expert, the online app in storage of documents for the borrower.
Refer to that as your point of sale software.
Okay, yep, which is in your case Blend. And what we got time for one more? What's one more?
So I would say just quickly, we use a product called Sales Boomerang, which is really, really a great piece of technology. So if you think about something for a second, if you gave a company 4 or 5 pieces of information and they were able to monitor the activities of your borrower, not to get too big brother or anything like that, but they were to monitor the activities of borrowers or potential borrowers, people in your sphere of influence, and notified you of certain actions which meant that you should call them. For example, you pre-approved this borrower 6 weeks ago and they just had their credit pulled by another mortgage company. That should be very concerning to you, right? We can set it up where you get a notification for that. Or how about we set it up in Total Expert where when that happens, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who you pre-approved 7 weeks ago, just got their credit pulled by KW Mortgage because they're using a Keller Williams agent. What if that triggered you sending them a BombBomb video to their text without you even lifting a finger that said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I just wanted to double check with you. How's the house hunting going? I'm going to be calling you within the next 24 hours for a full update. Hope things are well. Can't wait to chat. What if that happened just because Mr. and Mrs. Smith pulled their credit with KW Mortgage and you didn't lift a finger? Mm-hmm. That's what we talk about when we talk about reducing sales friction. That technology is possible today. It's possible in the branch that you have, Carl. It's possible at our company. It's possible at many companies. You do have to work at setting it up, but Sales Boomerang can do the credit pull. They can do the credit watch for somebody to see if in their estimation, the credit score has been raised, where now it's a mortgage that can be made, whereas before maybe it wasn't. How about if you got a notification that this conventional mortgage that you closed 22 months ago has now probably reached a value where you could do a refinance to drop PMI? What if you got 3 of those emails every month? Would that be something that when we talk about that 5% a year, that 7% a year, what if you pre-canned a BombBomb video that said, hey, I'm so glad you're taking a second to watch this video. I just wanted to let you know that I believe the value of your home has been raised to the point where it's worth taking a look at whether or not we can drop PMI. Give me a call at this number if you're interested in lowering your mortgage payment. Have a great day. What if that happened without the loan officer doing anything? It's possible. Yeah. And it's that technology is available and affordable today, and we should all be working at companies that have a system to deploy that for us. That's how we win in this new environment. That's how we get our business to be 5 to 7% easier every year instead of 5 to 7% harder, which is what's probably going to happen if we don't change.
You know, that's a great point. You know, as you're sitting here talking about hell, as a consumer, if I had a mortgage on my home and I was paying PMI, I would want you, the loan officer, to call me and talk to me. You wouldn't be an annoying pest. You'd be a welcome guest. It's like, oh, I can drop my PMI. Well, my God, thank God that you called. Who wouldn't? You know, honestly, like who?
That call, absolutely.
Yeah, who wouldn't want to do that? And you know, I know that I've always like, look, if we're telling our borrowers and co-borrowers, hey, use me because I got your back, brother. Yep. You better freaking have their back, you know, and when these situations,
if you want to be their mortgage lender for life, you better be worthy of that.
That's exactly right. And if you're relying on you to keep up with all that stuff, man, there's just, unless you're closing 1 loan a month, and even then it would be a challenge. So as you ramp up, it becomes impossible to do that without technology, just like it'd be impossible to do it without a telephone. Just another layer of technology. Oh, man, great stuff, man. I could sit here and talk to you all day, and some days I do. I know I'm flying up as we're recording this. This is late November, and here in a couple of weeks, I know we got a brainstorm. I'm flying up to your office. We're doing a one-day brainstorm up there, and I freaking love doing those with you, man.
Brave come to Michigan. Only the brave come to Michigan in December, Carl.
Yeah, well, that's true. But dude, such great stuff comes out of those meetings, though. It really does. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yep.
So, hey, is there a way, like, if somebody, and again, neither you or I has any participation other than buying these, and they charge us full price, right?
Yep, absolutely. No discounts. No.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to reach out and get more information or ask how you plug it in, or just kind of how you implemented this, or who on your team implements this stuff, or how many, whether they're a business owner, whether they're a mortgage company owner, or an individual loan officer, like how do I plug this stuff in, or how can I have it set up for me, or where did you find the people set up? Is there somebody at your office they could call to get more information about all this stuff?
Yeah, I would say my partner, Kevin Broughton, is somebody that I've been partners with in this company for 15 years. He's a great guy, and he just has a unique knack for talking to people about their businesses and maybe finding a way where some of these technologies could inject themselves and help loan officers do better. Again, it's about having these systems working for you as opposed to having another company's technology working against you.
That's a great idea. Talking to Kevin, I tell you, apart from me and you, he might be the smartest person I know. So, he is absolutely brilliant, and that'd be a great. And just as you're listening to this, look, this is not going to be anything weird or anything like that. Truly, I think everybody understands the spirit of how we do things here on that at Loan Officer Freedom. Like, everybody's reaching out to help each other, and a lot of people reach out to us and to me and you, Owen, and to Kevin, and so nothing weird or anything like that. We'll put a link.
About being in a position to succeed, right? How can you deploy these things to help your business get better as opposed to it getting harder, which is what's going to happen if we don't change a little bit.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we'll put a link on this page if you want to reach out to Kevin and just ask, so you can grab that information and go deploy it with your own personal company, whether you're the owner or if you're a loan officer, and to get some insight onto what to go back to your branch manager or your ownership, and so with some ideas of what needs to be implemented. We'll put a link on this page, and just click on it. It'll I don't know exactly how we'll do it yet, but it'll go to Kevin's calendar, and you can get on the phone and just tell him that you listen to the podcast, and because he wasn't present, that Owen and Carl voted on his behalf, that he could he'd be happy to help you out. No, he'd be happy to help you out, because a lot of people help him out, and that's how this works. And if you're just listening to this on iTunes, let's do this. If you just go to loanofficerstrategycall.com, loanofficerstrategycall.com, loanofficerstrategycall.com. What we'll do is when you go there, it puts you, it asks you a couple questions and puts you on a calendar. Just put on there, hey, I'd like to talk to Kevin about technology, and we'll make sure that we'll hook the two of you up. And again, nothing weird or anything, just looking to help out. Because I tell you, it has amazed me that when we put this technology in place, that we get more referrals, we get it with less effort, faster closings, and with less underwriting conditions. And what less underwriting conditions, by the way, not just less headache for us, but less times we're having to go back to the borrower and the co-borrower and say, oh, by the way, I know it's the fifth time I'm calling you. I need something else, but I need something else. And then
going to make us more productive. It's just like I mentioned earlier, higher net promoter score, more 5-star reviews, more raving fans. It's a winner all the way around.
Yeah, I love this. And if you're trying to operate your business without technologies like, not these, but technologies like these,
correct,
man, you are being left in the dust, and you're being overworked, and you're being stressed out because of it. And it's one of those things that you have got to put this stuff into place. Even if you think, oh, I don't have time, you got to figure out a way. And Kevin can tell you about, who sets it up for us and that kind of thing. Maybe I can hook you up with somebody. So cool. I know this ran a little bit longer than typical, but it's such a great, just a great topic. Is there anything that I didn't ask you today that I should have, or maybe it would just be another episode we need to do?
No, I think we covered it all. I just think I would encourage people, like I said, we only have to be a little bit successful. The tools are out there absolutely for us to succeed. And I encourage everybody strongly to deploy these types of technologies in your business, help your business grow without you having to undertake these actions. This technology is available, and it's available today, and the people that adopt it are going to win more.
And those that don't are going to win less.
Correct.
Yeah. No, honestly, it is. It really is. So cool. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. Oh, and you know what? I forgot one thing. I have an ethical shameless bribe. An ethical shameless bribe. So my ethical shameless bribe for everybody listening in is we appreciate those 5-star reviews. It really has helped the word get out about the information that we're bringing to everybody, and we really want to make sure that we can bring this to as many people as possible. And you guys, your recommendations on what to talk about, sharing this with your friends, and those 5-star reviews is what does it. If you'll go to iTunes and just leave us an honest review, I say a 5-star, but really I'm just asking for an honest one. Just give an honest review. Take a picture of that review, and then email us at support@themarketinganimals.com. Support@themarketinganimals.com. And you'll get mugged when you do that. Those of you watching this on YouTube, we got these handy dandy little Yeti style. Dude, these things are amazing, Owen. I swear, I've done this like a couple times. I make morning tea now. I went off coffee and went up to my herbal tea, which I love, by the way. But I make it like at 6 o'clock in the morning, dude. At noon, when it's still too hot in there, and I have to pour it in a cup to let it cool off a little bit before I drink it. It's amazing with the technology. These.
I had an uncle who used to say about those Yeti things, they were genius because it keeps the hot and the cold. And how do it know?
Yeah, exactly right. So we'd love to send you send you one of these. It's got the little slide lid. So these are nice, man. I like these little things. But anyway, if you just leave us an honest review, take a picture of it, send it support at the Marketing Animals. We'll send you one of these. No credit card, nothing. Just out of pure coolness. So cool. I think that's it. So loan officer.
So I always have fun and I always learn when I talk to you.
Well, I guarantee this time I'd say you did all the giving because I'd love it. I wouldn't know any of this technology if it wasn't for you because you're the one that turned it on for me, and it's amazing. And I cannot overemphasize as you're listening to this. Do not go set this up. Have it set up for you. This is not.
Amen.
Funny hole that you want to go down because as Samuel Jackson says, the rabbit hole goes very deep, and you do not want to be the one setting this thing up. Or 6 months from now, it'll be in the box, and you'll go, man, I know I need to be setting it up. You have got to have somebody, whether pay somebody or have your branch manager hire somebody, or the owner hire somebody, or you hire some way. This has to be done on your behalf. So, Owen, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. So, loanofficerstrategycall.com to talk with Kevin. 5-star review to get mugged. My name's Carl White. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on Loan Officer Freedom, and we'll talk to you when we call in, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.